So let's get started. Tell us how you start your typical day.
Oh, so I start my typical day, and it's not cliche with spending time with God. That's the way I start my typical day. Um, I'm going to pray. I'm going to listen to some church music, or I'm going to listen to the Word. I don't think I can go throughout my day without doing that because I do have a pretty stressful job that I actually love. I'm very compassionate about, but it takes a lot. It does. It takes a lot. So that's how I begin my day to make sure that I'm ready for whatever that's gonna come at me.
So I usually start my day, good morning, everyone. I start my day waking up probably about 3 or 4 o'clock every morning. I have some sleeping issues, obviously. So I'm going to start reading. And I do that because I think it's very important to stay current with current events. You need to know what's going on in my business because I'm going to come in contact with people throughout the day. And for me, I want to have those things that I know about, whether it's talking about business, whether it's talking about certain things that are going on, because that's the space that I play in. And then I'm probably going to hear somebody in the bathroom playing music through a speaker wide open and listening to the Bible. So that's going to pull me in, so I get it all, from that time that she gets up. That's how it starts off every day. Yeah.
Okay, so I totally fumbled the ball on announcing Best You. So tell us about your journey, because you stayed in school. Yeah, you stayed in school. Tell us about your journey. And first of all, let me take a step back. When I met Regina, she always knew she was going to be a nurse. She always knew she was going to be a nurse. But you wanted to be a CRNA though, right?
Yeah, at one point I did.
Yeah, so that was a deal. So can you talk to us about the transition from possibly being CRNA to becoming DMP in the mental health space?
So, you want the real side or the fake side? 'Cause I'm going to give you, the truth. I'll tell you the truth. So, initially I wanted to do CRNA, and that's strictly because of the money, And life, it comes at you, right? And so basically, I could not afford to stop working and go to school. I didn't want to stop working and go to school because of the fact that ultimately I was a single parent and I knew my son was dependent upon me. And I didn't want to come out of school with all of this debt, and I still wanted to be able to maintain. So I switched over and did the NP route, which allowed me to still work full-time at the bedside in ICU as well as return to school for grad school. So that's what I did. That's how I became a psych nurse practitioner, as well as I went back to school and did my doctorate. So I do have a doctorate in nursing practice, and here I am today, specializing in psych.
Love for her being here today. Well, today look good on you, sis.
Hey, well, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Now, Sheldon, give us some background on, I don't know your proper military rank, and I'm sure it's extremely high, but tell us about that. And then also tell us about the segue from military into entrepreneurship, because that's a big deal.
It is. And so let me be 100% transparent. I'm not retired from the military. I come from the military all of my life. From childhood, my mother was married a couple of times. So she was married to, am I being too candid for you guys? Because you guys are looking real stiff in here.
Yeah,
so let's have some fun on this. So my mother was married to an Army guy and Marine guy. Now, so I got to see both. Army guy was cool. Marine was just stone cold crazy. So I know I wasn't going to go that route. And if you're well traveled, I'm from a big city of Jacksonville, North Carolina. Okay. So, you get to be around the Marines, you get to see those things. But my family has a very rich tradition of military people. And growing up, I always saw them when they came home, especially my uncles, people gave them all kinds of respect. And they always made them feel good, and they come with their uniform and all that. And I said, wow, that's the way to go. And so going through high school, I don't know if you guys ever experienced this, they made me feel like I couldn't go to college. Mm-hmm. I didn't have what it took to go to college. And so I'm saying I'm going to go in the military. In the 10th grade, I joined something, what they call the delayed entry program. And so in the 10th grade, I joined the military. So as soon as I graduated, 3 days after that, I was gone. And I'm going to tell you, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. If you stay around your family all the time, you're pretty much going to be modeling what you see. That's your culture, right? Yeah. And so as soon as I left, I got stationed down at Fort Benning, Georgia. Had never been out of the country. Sent me right to Germany. Got in Germany, stayed there, got around a bunch of guys, learned a lot. Going to fast forward, came back, went to Fort Stewart, got out of Fort Stewart, started going to school at, if you're well traveled again, Greensboro, North Carolina. Went to Gifford Tech, went over to the Aggies. Any Aggie pride in here? No Aggies? Okay. So that route there, came out of that, didn't finish. Had a family, started making money, thought I was doing good. I was blessed enough to have great relationships, which you guys are going to hear about, that people took an interest in me. And they said, this guy's pretty smart. And throughout my life, I've always gone places where people have given me opportunities, people have given me breaks. That's how I ended up working for a company where I learned everything about staffing. It was the largest privately held staffing company in the world at that point. And I didn't know anything about it, I didn't know how good I could be at it, but I went from being good to being great in it. And I'm going to tell you something just to fast forward. When you're placed in a room with people, you're not there just because, you're there for a cause, figure it out. As such, the table that I'm back there with now, I don't know some of those people, but we had enough sense, and I encourage you to do the same, where we exchange information. Because you don't know who God is putting you in the midst of, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my fast version. I'll give you guys more, but as far as entrepreneur, I'm a beast. I am a beast.
Y'all heard the man? He said he a beast.
I'm a beast. I'm not cocky. I'm not arrogant. I'm extremely confident in what I do. And when you go into places and you just have that swag on you, you know you're going to walk out of there with the business. And when you leave out of here today, I want you to feel the same way. Get that swag on you that your lab is going to be the it. I don't curse.
Yes.
That's right. It's going to be the it. So from an entrepreneur, this is what I do. I love it. I am fearless. Fearless. And I know you guys can feel it. I know you can feel it. It's all over you as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to you guys coming out of here saying this is the best place you could have been. Your future. Let me say this. I see you somewhere in the future looking better than you look right now. Remember that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Y'all fired up?
Yes.
Let's go.
Listen, he will fire you up.
Let's go.
He's my biggest cheerleader.
Let's go.
Before I met Sheldon, I always thought and wondered if I could have my own practice. And it wasn't until I met Sheldon that you can do this, Regina. You got this.
So can you guys.
He was my biggest cheerleader.
You're black, beautiful, strong, powerful. Can't kill you. Been trying to take you guys out. Antoine Fisher said what? It's my time. It's your time, ladies.
All right. Is it y'all time? I just want to make an announcement, church announcement, that it is really cold in here. That's probably why they can't move. Maybe we need to open the doors, you know. Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, can I piggyback off some of what y'all said?
Let's go.
Okay, because I got my questions, but I love the organic conversation. So first of all, tell us real quick, tell us the love story.
This is deep. My story, her story. Listen to her story, and then I'll clean it up.
Now let me clean your story up. Yeah, let me clean your
So
story
here's
up.
how it happened. If you guys can tell, I love having fun. I love just life. So I play a lot of golf, and probably a couple days a week. She'll tell you that. And I was at a tournament with one of my golf friends. And my golf friend, I was single at the time, and his wife came in, and Kelly and Renee, I call them our sponsors. So we were just sitting there joking, and Renee comes in, and she says, you know, you're single, what's going on? I said, no, I'm not dating anybody, I'm single. And I said, you know, I am the DEMB. And she says, what's that? I said, I'm Dallas's, or the DMEB, Dallas's most eligible bachelor. So we had this big joke going, but at that point, I really wasn't dating anybody. I'd come out of a divorce. I had 2 kids that I was raising. I ended up with the custody of the kids. And so my life is a little different at that point. And so I said, hey, if you know anybody, meet them. I really would like to meet them. You know, that's just where I am in my life. So fast forward, it took about maybe 9, 10 months. And I'd see Kelly periodically, and Kelly said, Kelly, what's going on? He said, man, I think Renee's really working for you. I said, okay, cool. So I go to, I think, Brazil. I come back off of a trip, because at that time I was just doing a lot of traveling. Really, because I could, to be honest with you guys. That was my escape. You know, no drinking, no partying, none of that. That just wasn't my life. And so I got back, and Regina ended up calling me because we were going to go, well, they called me and said they wanted us to go on a double date. And we didn't happen. They were going out for something else to take care of with her family. And then so she said, hey, give him my phone number. Yeah. And then she calls me. We started talking on the phone for how long?
I didn't call you, brother.
Well, you told me to tell my story. I'm making myself shine up in here. Now, if you want to take it from here, you can. So we talked for a minute. She was going out with a guy that night. I was back up because he stood up. She told me he ghosted her. And
Where's your laugh, lady?
yeah. And so she called me. I was a fill-in, and then you can tell your story.
So, listen, I did not call him. So we were supposed to meet probably off and on, maybe about 6 to 9 months. It was something of that nature. So Kelly and Sheldon, they play golf together. I know Renee, she is a drug rep that calls on the clinic that I was working for at the time. And actually, she still calls on the clinic that I currently operate and own and operate. But anyway, so for whatever reason or another, within these 6 to 9 months, we never got a chance to meet. And the very first time that we had made plans to meet, they had to go out of town, they being Kelly and Renee. Anyway, so they went out of town, and I'm like, well, listen, that would have been odd anyway for us to be on this double date. We don't know each other, so why don't you just give him my number and have him to call me, and maybe we can meet up for, coffee or something of that nature.
She's trying to fill me out.
Yeah, I was. Anyway, yeah. So that's what Renee did. Renee gave him my information, my number, and he's right. I was actually supposed to be going out on a date with somebody else. He ghosted me.
Not me.
No, not him, but the guy that I was going out with. He ghosted me. He didn't call, which is great, right? Because this is where I'm at now. But anyway, so fast forward. Sheldon had been out of town. He came back in. He called, and I was like, sure, I'll meet you. Still didn't hear from the guy. And so I got dressed, and I meet up with Sheldon. That was November the 16th, 2019. And literally, we've been together ever since. We met in 2019 on November the 16th. We got engaged December the 19th or December the 23rd of 2019, like literally 5 weeks later. We were married within 3 months. On February 29th, it was a leap year of 2019.
I've been leaping ever since.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's our story. And Right. So we got married in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, COVID hit, so which forced us home together. And not only were we home together, but our kids were home too with us. And mind you,
Grown, rusty boys.
yes. And so we were able to really, really get to know each other in a very intimate way. Had it not been for COVID, we probably we would not be as close as we are today, I feel like, because we were forced to be together. And like I said, we hadn't known each other but for 3 months when we got married. We hadn't known each other but for 5 weeks when we said, when we got engaged.
No cap.
3 years later, and here we are, and there's never been a regret. And it was funny because my family, my limited amount of friends, they know that I'm a planner, and it's not like I needed Sheldon. It's not like Sheldon needed me. We were two people that were willing to do this together, and it's been great. It has.
Yes, Black love. I love that. So a few questions for y'all. So about the morning routine, right? So I asked about the morning routine because I feel like that is so important in entrepreneurship. How you start your day has a lot to do with how you're going to end that day or how that day is going to end. Now, bringing relationship into it, right? Because both of you was your own woman. Sheldon was his own man, right? How do you balance your individuality? So like when you getting read up in the morning so you can make sure if whatever is trending, you can speak on it. But then Regina come in there with her, Fred Hammond.
Yes.
And busting up your groove. Like, so how do y'all handle sometimes when there is, I don't really like the word contention or conflict, but like how do you, because it's really just two people being individuals, right? Yeah. So how do you handle it when it potentially or does this type of thing?
Want me to take that?
Sure.
So I think I'm pretty black and white, right? And I would think for us, what has worked best is, and I can be extremely aggressive, and I'm using that word very freely, aggressive and, hey, this is how it should be, because I just want to move, go, 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 go. With Regina, she's much different. And when we first met, she helped me a lot. She would be the first one to say, hey, I'm sorry. And I'm like, dang, but you didn't do anything. And it kind of made me pull back and look at myself, because then I said, well, dang, she keeps saying she beating me to it. I'm going to start beating her to it. And so out of that, I've learned in our relationship just to allow the person to be themselves and accept them as yourself. I think when you've been by yourself and you've been single a lot, you like things your way. We all do. And you tend to think that your way is the right way. And so I think for us, what has really happened is, and then as a man, let me just be candid with you guys, because it doesn't seem like you guys really like men in here. I don't see no more women with the lab. So I'm going to give y'all this nugget. Most men are insecure. We're very insecure. And so we try to stay in control so we don't have to let ourselves become vulnerable. So I think in this particular situation with her, it's worked that way for us very well, for me to appreciate what she brings to the table, because the Bible says that your wife is a helpmeet. So she helps you meet your goals.
No, don't go giving Keith no ideas.
So that's really been the thing for me. I appreciate and value her for what she brings to the table, and I really believe that she is someone that helps me, and I help her, but I can only help her and be helped if I'm willing to listen to her and value what she brings to the table. Does that help anybody? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so next question is, Sheldon, you were mentioning to us, like, like, hey, when I get up, I want to see the news, I want to see what's happening. And I'm sure, too, with you as well, Regina, I feel like mental health, like, I know everything about our health matters, but, like, mental health, right, is so serious. So I know you have to also stay well versed as well. What is, for each of you, what is your, let's say, your number one go-to as an entrepreneur? Like for me, I'll tell folks, like, hey, if you're opening up a lab, you need to go to CDC every day. You need to see what's happening. You need to see what CDC had said every day, whether you think they're a conspiracy, it don't matter. They're the authority right now, right? So you need to definitely be checking CDC. So as an entrepreneur, for each of you, what's that number one resource that is like, hey, I got to check this every day or every week or every month? Like, I'm definitely gonna check that, because there's so much information that comes at us, but what is that thing that you trust other than the Bible?
So I listen to a couple of podcasts as it relates to psychiatry, Carlot Psychiatry, because he always promotes that he's non-biased. And so, I listen to that. Also tune in to like NEI podcasts, so different podcasts related to mental health.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What about you, Sheldon? What's your go-to for, and is it, nowadays, is it IT, is it technology in general, or is it staffing or consulting or golf?
So for me, it's most of the time it's going to be the American Staffing Association. They're the ones who really tend to show us things that are going on in our industry. But I think one that I have to look at oftentimes is I have to see what's going on with companies that are hiring and laying off. My company mainly focuses on the IT field. So I'm sure you've seen they're laying off tens of thousands of people. Well, that directly affects me in a big way. So it's very important for me to, read any articles or just go and look under the technology section and see what's going on. So that's something I'm going to do every single day. It makes a big difference.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Another thing that I was thinking of as you all were, sharing your stories. So, Sheldon, you were previously married. Regina, you previously had relationships. And then
Previously married too.
Previously married.
And relationships.
And relationships. I
You
may
too,
or may
you
not
too,
know
Joker.
about.
You too, Joker.
Okay. So, and then COVID hits, and, because like right during COVID, there were some people who were having to spend all this time together, and I heard that there was an increase in domestic violence, and so for some people, we were seeing more people break up than actually stay together. How do you balance, or what's your secret, or what's your recommendation to a blended family, a beautiful blended family that you have, considering all of those things?
It's a lot of give and take. It's a lot of adjusting. It's a lot of communicating. It's a lot of respect. And I'm going to stick with those things. Look at them looking at me. But yeah, what, babe?
Well, so she says a blended family. So let me give you guys something. We have a 19-year-old, a 22, 26, and 35.
35, yeah.
Right? All of them boys. 3 of them are in college. The oldest is married. And
we have a grandbaby, too.
Just had a grandbaby. So for me, from my side, from where I sit, I think what worked for us was really just being mature. When you have a family, you have a responsibility. And if you let your feelings get in the way and you start being emotional, it's going to be tough to make it work. I found with Jairus, which is Regina's only blood child, it was a struggle because he hadn't really dealt with a man like me. I like to think that I'm a man's man. And coming in, if I would have responded to him and went to the place where he was, we probably wouldn't get along. I literally had to kiss his behind, which was very hard for me to do. Am I being candid with you guys? I am.
Yeah.
In order for us to get along, but I understood what it was about. Now we have such a loving, healthy relationship. And to be more direct, Sheila, I think it's about being consistent.
Yeah. Consistent. Yeah,
You gotta be
consistency.
consistent. You got to be
That's
consistent.
different.
Yeah.
That's different. And now, and we're gonna layer in business. So is it your family values, those core family values you have that also allow you to be in business together? Well, not necessarily be in business together, but Regina has Best You, you've got Phoenix Systems, so yeah.
So actually, we are in business together. Even though Sheldon had Phoenix Systems before we came together, he always included me in Phoenix Systems. And Best You came about within the marriage, and he's a part of Best You. So one of the core things that we do and what we believe in is we don't separate. We don't separate anything. We don't separate finances. We don't separate, this is mine, this is yours. We're truly in this thing together, So we're going to rise together. We're going to fall together. We're going to rise together again, and we're going to stay floating, flying high like an eagle. So we're together regardless, and our optics look good, up here and in front of people, but even behind the scenes, we are. This is who we are. We spend a lot of time together. You know how they have these communities. Nowadays these communities are all about live, work, and play. That's what we do. We live, work, and play together. I've never spent as much time as I have with anybody in my life, literally, we wake up together. We're working together. We come home together, We live and breathe Sheldon and Regina because we're about making this work not only for us, but for our family.
And we believe marriage is a business.
We do. We believe marriage is a business. And when I was previously married, my spouse at that time, he told me that I treated our marriage like a business, and that was a problem. But marriage is a business, and I've been blessed to be with somebody that also sees that marriage is a business.
And I want to piggyback on this. I think it's very important. When we first met, we were talking about credit scores.
Oh yeah, we were very open about a lot of things. Hey, what kind of debt you in? What's your credit score? How do you pay bills?
So I think when you're talking about business, it's all the same for us, right? If you look at your relationship, you have a budget. You should be seeing what your income is, what your outgo is. The same thing in your businesses when you launch your lab. Look at your balance sheets. Know what your outgo is, know what your income is, right? Know what you have to know all those things. So when we're talking, we're not just talking about us. It's not about us as a couple. It's about us as a business because we're looking at each other as a business. So that's how we feel.
I love that.
And we've done a lot of great things together within these 3 years. I mean, we've done a lot.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Why did you all become entrepreneurs?
So I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. Never did. I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. Had no idea. As I was stating very on a micro scale, I've always just put my head down and worked. And if I saw something in front of me to do, I'm going to always go and do the best that I can do. And so in preparation for this, I looked up the entrepreneur definition, and I read it to you guys. I don't even think most of us even look at it this way. But it was very impactful to me, if I can find it. It says an entrepreneur, it would stop working here, wouldn't it? It says an entrepreneur is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. Never even thought about it that way. So I've always taken risks, much like you guys are doing in here. But I'm always going to bet on me. And there's something that someone puts in front of you, learn it. So how I got into this business, I was working for one company, did very well with them. My mother got ill, and I wanted to move closer to my mother. And I went to work for another company who offered me a whole bunch of money to come leave another company. And interviewed with them. They like tripled my salary. And I thought I was going to do it. But I interviewed them in the airport. Never went to their building. And I got there, and I found out it wasn't everything they said it was. But let me tell you how God works. I worked for them for about 10 months. They came in, they said, Sheldon, we're not making the money we need to make. We need you to go straight commission. Can you do that? I ain't stupid. I'm like, if I ain't making no money now and I go straight commission, I'm not going to make any money because you're not going to be able to pay me. So I resigned. I took a weekend. I built my own website, incorporated my business, said I'm going to try it. Wasn't using the word entrepreneur. I'm going to try it. If I don't make it, I can always go back and work somewhere because I know I'm good at what I'm doing. I called on a company you guys may have heard of, BB&T. BB&T, does that ring a bell? Branch Banking and Trust. SunTrust now became Truist. I called on those guys and I said, hey, can you guys give me an opportunity to work with you? In the meantime, I started a janitorial cleaning business. And I was doing that. Thought I was going to do well with that, put some people in position. They weren't showing up to work. Who do you guys think was going to clean at night? Me. I didn't make it in one weekend from going to see my mother. I got there late, one site, got cussed out. Guy sat me down and cursed me out about cleaning some toilets and took the contract. I didn't say anything to him. And God put me in a position where I became somebody very different at that point. And the guy was cursing me out, belittling me. And I said, my God, there's somebody that's really doing this, that has to do this, and someone is treating them like crap. And I didn't say anything to the guy. I let him curse me out, and I left. And at that point, I said, okay, what am I going to do? So I committed and devoted, called them, all kinds of companies for about a month. I landed a $250,000 contract with BB&T. When the people were coming to work with me, they said, how do you get this contract? I didn't even have an office. People were meeting me in a public space to sign up to come work for my company. I didn't do a business plan. I didn't take a loan. I didn't do any of that because I didn't know it was supposed to be done. Again, I just stumbled into this, but I bet on me. Along the way, that's where I'm saying about relationships, I began to meet people, and they just kept helping me and kept helping me and kept helping me and kept giving me breaks and kept giving me breaks. And I've been in business now 22 years. And in all transparency, my company makes millions of dollars every single year. Millions of dollars. Been doing it now 20-some years. But that's not the big part. The big part is I take risks. I took a risk. That's how I became an entrepreneur. It doesn't change me. It doesn't make me any different than anyone or better than anyone. I just maximize what opportunities that I had. And that's what an entrepreneur is going to do. Take a risk on yourself, and the financial risk is there, but the risk should be greater than the reward, and it'll come to you. Make sense?
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
And I love what I do.
Did that just inspire y'all? Yeah, it did.
Can I give them a real nugget?
I love it.
Do we have time?
Yeah.
How many of you guys in here have graduated college and have degrees? How many of you haven't? So, I didn't finish college. I go in rooms with millionaires, multimillionaires. They got all kinds of pedigrees and degrees. Let me be honest with you guys. When I first started going in these rooms, I'd feel like really inferior to them. I really did. And there was a point in my life where I was like, dang, I didn't do it that way. Don't let that stop you. Don't let it deter you, because you can have all the degrees that you want in life. And if you don't have the skills, you don't have the resources, you don't have the temperament, you don't have the opportunities, you're not going to make it. So whatever that you don't have in here, don't let that make you feel any less than what you are. You can make it with what you have. Use what you have. And I'm telling you that I know it for a fact. I used to go in rooms and I wouldn't say it till I found out that most of my buddies that are making millions of dollars, they dropped out of school too. So don't ever feel like you don't have enough. Everything that you have, God has already given it to you. And I'm going to keep telling you guys this all weekend. You got what it takes. Make it happen. You can do it. Don't worry about the money. The money's going to come. Just stay consistent.
So speaking of money, Regina, do you measure success in your business primarily financially or non-financially?
A little bit of both, Sheila, because of course I need the money in order to stay afloat, right? And so, but I measure my success by, at the end of my day, who have I helped, you know? Yeah. What I do, even though it's draining, is very rewarding. If I've helped one person, you know, that means everything to me. So my relationships with my clients, with my patients, that's how I measure my success, because they keep coming back, you know. And not only that, they send me other patients, you know. When I left the company that I've been working with for, I guess about 4.5 years, I was working for Prime with Dr. Air. It was my plans to maybe take like a 3-month break, like a pause, and just have me some me time. Literally, my last day at work was like that Tuesday. That Monday, I was back up and running. And I started off working tele at home. And then we bought a building, and we moved into the building, I think that August or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And anyway, I never missed a beat. I never missed a beat. My patients, they found me. They referred other people to me. The relationships that I made in the community within the mental health space, they referred to me. And I have a network of therapists, a network of primary care places that we just have a really good referring relationship. So I've never gone without patients. Mm-hmm. I'm always full. I'm always booked. Right now, I'm probably about 4 to 5 weeks out in new patient evals. And it was my plans to just work Monday through Wednesday, have Thursdays off as like an admin day. Fridays I'm going to be off anyway because I need at least a 4-day, at least a 3-day weekend. And I'm working on Thursdays just to make sure I don't keep pushing patients out. So I've never gone without. Best You has never gone without. Mm-hmm. And for that, I'm really thankful, and that's because of relationships that I'm building, as well as just being true and authentic to myself and to my clients.
That's good. Yes, I hear some claps and snaps.
Yeah.
So we're gonna ask some other serial entrepreneur couples to join us now, but I just want to say how thankful I am to God for you all being in our lives. I want to thank you so much for being here to bless the people. I want to thank you for the example that y'all are, because we need more of this in our community. We want to rah-rah all of your accomplishments, everything that you've been through, all your perseverance, all your determination, all of your good intention, but it needs to become more of the norm in our community. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because y'all have, overcome things personally, but you didn't let it tarnish your hearts. we can see that, how y'all are sharing, you know, the love between the two of you, the love, you know, that you speak of for your family. So I just want to commend y'all and thank y'all and praise the Lord just for y'all being here. So thank you.
Just
Thank you.
a couple of things. So I know you asked, how do we begin our day? One of the things is also, how do I end my day? I'm going to end my day the same way that I began. And not only do I pray, you know, me and my husband, we're ending our day in prayer, okay? And one of the things that I do on my way coming home, when I'm transitioning from the office to work, because I know that a lot of things it's pulled out, you know. I'm going to work, I'm full, my cup is full, right? And by the time I come home, my cup is pretty empty, at least it was. But one of the things that I've started doing is praying, God, you know, I need for you to refill my cup. Because the same way I was present for my clients, I need to be able to be present for my spouse. I need to be able to be present for my mom, my kids, you know. So just refill me, because I don't want to shortchange them, because I've given everything that I have to my clients. And even when I'm going in, I'm asking God to fill me up so I can make sure that I'm everything that my clients need at that time. Because sometimes I'm their only point of contact. And just like that, with them, sometimes I'm my husband's point of contact, his only contact. So I need to be able to be full for him too. So that's how I'm ending my day. And then to piggyback off of the mindset coach,
LaShawna.
with LaShawna, you know, she mentioned about your mindset. Something I tell my clients every day, who do you talk to more than you talk to anybody else? Your friends, your spouse, your coworkers. You talk to yourself. At least I know I talk to myself more than I talk to anybody else. And most of us do, if we're being honest. And you can get into a place where you're, you know, saying a lot of negative things. So you have to be really intentional in what you're telling yourself. When you notice you're saying what you can't do, what you're not going to be able to do, this and that, all the negatives, watch yourself and like, hold on, I can't do that. I can do anything I want to do. This is not true. So you've got to have intentional conversations with yourself,
Right.
intentional positive conversations with yourself in order to make it.
That's awesome.
Yes. Okay, ladies. So Mrs. Regina Preston Winston, CEO and board certified mental health nurse practitioner of Best
You,
Best You,
Sheila.
I wanna say
Best
Best
You Mental
Health.
Health Clinic.
Best You Mental Health BYMHC.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Got it. Mr.
Yeah.
Sheldon Winston, Phoenix Systems. All right.